there are two different patterns we're going to look at here. I have 5 times x over 6 times x. And on the other hand, that's something like 5 plus x over 6x. Here, it's valid to cancel the x's. And the reason is that you're multiplying. And when you multiply a fraction, you could have rewritten 5 over 6 times x over x. And then x over x is just equal to 1. So this is the same thing as 5 6 times 1, which is 5 6. Another way to think about this is, what's happening if I have 5 6 filled in, and then I multiply it by x on top and bottom? So for instance, what if I had something like the x value was 2? What would happen if this was 5 times 2 over 6 times 2? In that case, you're just making it so there are twice as many bars, but the fundamental ratio is the same. So now I would have 10 over 12, but that's the same proportion as 5 over 6. Now on the other side, another way that you could say that's much shorter and less geometric is that here you are multiplying, and when you're multiplying, it makes sense to cancel with division. So division is the opposite operation, what we might call, wait for it, the op-op. You can always do the opposite operation to cancel, and multiplication and division are opposite. So that's the second way you should sort of justify it informally. In the second piece, why can't we do that? Well, one way to show that something is an anti-pattern is to show that there's a single number where it doesn't work. So we could say, okay, 5 plus x over 6x, when x is equal to 1, this would become 5 plus 1 over 6 times 1, which is 6 over 6, which is 1, right? But then if cancellation were valid, when we plugged in x equals 1 after canceling, but if you try to cancel, then when you plug in x equals 1, you would just get 5 6. And this is also sort of justified less formally by thinking that on here you're adding and multiplying, and that's mixing. So doing different operations on top and bottom, you can't undo them in the same way. The opposite operation of addition is subtraction, whereas the opposite operation of multiplication is division. This is one of the biggest issues people have, is not being sure when they can and can't cancel. So we have to be careful that we're only canceling when we actually can.